The arrival of a new baby in every home brings joy and happiness to the family, friends, and neighborhood. But when the child is born with a condition, the feeling is as if one swallows a bittersweet pill.
If you're happy and you know it, shake your hips. Shake your hips. If you're happy and you know it, run your face and show it, show it. If you're happy and you know it, shake your hips. Shake your hips.
There are different kinds of disorders in children, and one of them is autism.
There is no known cause of autism, but we have predisposing factors. It could be genetically influenced, which means it has to do with the gene of the child, not that the parents passed it on to the child. So without being genetically influenced and things like not crying at birth, heavy metal toxicity and environmental influence or toxins in the environment, which the body couldn't process, or certain infections like bacterial, fungal, viral infections, and the child not being able to process certain foods like gluten and casein. These are the things that could make the signs and symptoms to be more pronounced in a child that is already genetically influenced into having autism. But really, there is no known cause of autism, so it can happen to anybody, black or white, rich or poor. I'm a Christian or a Muslim, anybody can come into anybody's family.
Globally, every 2nd of April, the world come together to celebrate the World Autism Day.
Now, the nutritional intervention therapy.
In Nigeria, various groups and individuals organize seminars, workshops, and other activities to educate parents, caregivers, and enlighten the society on autism spectrum disorder, ASD, or autism, a broad term used to describe a group of neurodevelopmental conditions.
Any child that didn't cry at birth, or had the yellowness of the eyes, we call it jaundice, or had the birth weight was very poor, like less than 2.5 kg, that child is monitored early. We call it surveillance. So the child will be made to come to the clinic at least every month for us to ensure they are meeting their developmental milestones. So if maybe by 1 year the mothers are complaining or the doctors are seeing something different, they'll refer them to the neurodevelopmental clinic. So when they now come to the hospital, usually we go with toys, we can do consultation on the floor, you allow the child to roam around and play, you begin to point out those things to the mother. So we can do screening and also do assessment. Some of the mothers will start crying. So they feel that this autism is a death sentence, that there is no way out for their child.
This is against all odds.
I'm in tears. Sincerely, I cry. I said, what kind of demon has possessed my child? I don't know how to explain it. From a child who wasn't talking to a child who doesn't even know you anymore. At that instant, he's angry. He doesn't know me. He can injure me and nothing will happen. He will fight his dad. He won't even look at him that he's his dad. Yes, they'll be struggling. My husband will be sweating, like trying to pin this boy down. It's not easy.
This is against all odds.
The key discourse at the seminar was on the diet of autism spectrum disorder and teaching them cognitive social skills that will enable them live an adequately moderate life when they are older. It was also very impactful and eye-opening filled with emotions, especially for parents and caregivers of these amazing children.
You need a lot of patience to successfully work with these children. You need to do a lot of research. You need to find out as much as possible. You need to partner with parents. So it's often easier when you have parents who are not living in denial, when you have parents who are willing to partner with the school.
Difficult. It's a learning process. I learn every day. There are new things I need to teach and make sure that I sustain the learning because they have short attention span. So you keep hitting the nail on the head every day. You make sure that whatever you teach, you follow through so that they don't forget. And if you see that they are forgetting and they are lapsing, you have to go back and reinforce.
It was also uniquely inspiring as facilitators encounter the audience with step by step information of the best method to improve their children's diet.
Diet has everything to do with autism. There are relationships between what you eat and how your body functions. The relationship between what you eat and how your brain functions. And that also affects your child. So an autistic child who feeds on the right nutrients and gets the right nutrients, it will help the child on the outlook of life and also the symptoms of autism. It helps to reduce most of the symptoms of autism.
Some students of special education from Veritas University were also part of the World Autism Day celebration. They used the opportunity of the global awareness to acquire the needed practical experience on children with special needs, which is part of the requirement of their course of study. They were involved in the practical training of the children.
As a future teacher, I need to interact with special children to observe them, to know how they behave, understand the reason they behave their way, so that in future I can know how to teach them, for them to understand what I'm going to teach. Some of them that they have interest in drawing. In Nigeria now, people make money from drawing. They can draw human beings and many things and flowers. I see them that in future they will be able to learn more about this work of art.
Require a lot of patience. You need a lot of endurance. You also need quite some experience to be able to handle children of this sort. So that is what it takes. And it takes a large heart to accommodate them. Because once you can accommodate them, then you can teach them. If you can't accommodate them, you can't teach them. And that is part of what we want our students to acquire.
These special children have gifts. They have special gifts given to them by God. You'll be amazed at what your child is able to do if you are able to get help and quickly put the child in a special school, at least in the first instance, so that they help the child develop the skills that the child needs to develop to be able to integrate into a normal mainstream school.
During the interaction with the autistic children, Jaden was singled out for his high display of skills and talent in painting.
It started with playing with pencils, scribbling on the walls, and us as parents having to repaint the walls over and over. After a while, we couldn't sustain the repainting and the defacing. So we started getting scrap papers from the office, for him to paint on the back, write on the back, and scribble on the back. Eventually, when we saw that, we had so much litter of papers in the house, we reckoned that it might be necessary to get additional assistance in managing his skills. So apart from, scribbling like this, he does this on the computer too. It drives your creativity and your sense of discernment to its limits, because you have to think for yourself from your perspective and then try to think and determine what's going on in his mind. And those two are normally things we take for granted. But once you are able to navigate that, you find out that it's a blissful world indeed.
She was feeling lonely as all the other dogs who lived on the farm were nowhere to be seen. And so she was sad. And she started crying.
As part of the World Autism Day, a solo art exhibition was organized by Kainya Chukwu Tagbo Okeke, a young creative painting artist whose works has graced the walls of several galleries and museums in Nigeria, Europe, and other parts of Africa in the last few years. He is 12 years old and autistic.
Kanye titled all the works, but some of the works don't have any title at all. He has names of some of his paintings that are names from cartoon characters. We give it a name. It's possibly what he's seeing, it's what he's telling us. Art is defined by you. It's a personal thing from person to person. That's what we have to discover, because even myself, my family, we are not really into the arts. So, but we have over the years, as we have been, putting all of Kanye's projects together, his exhibitions, going from one exhibition to the next. We've met different artists and we've met different art connoisseurs and people, art buyers, and every time they always make us understand how you express, how you read an art expressed by somebody is different from the next person.
With autism, I tell parents when you know your child is on the spectrum, you have to accept the fact that your child needs help, and you have to read up, you have to ask questions, and you have to go to the right expert to make sure that you get the necessary intervention for your child. And then no matter what, no matter how bleak it looks, never give up. Just continue doing what you're doing. That's it.
Children with autism syndrome disorder struggle through life with a lot of the abilities that all humans need to do a lot of regular daily tasks. And some things that most people take for granted are a huge challenge for them.
I have one word. Autism is not a tragedy. Ignorance is. So if somebody is going to discriminate my child, shame on them. I see that as ignorance. But the why we do what we do is because some people don't know better. So the awareness, talking about it, explaining what it's all about, is to ensure that those people that do not understand, they understand.
Creating a sense of hopelessness for their parents who are neither overwhelmed, unaware of the child's situations, or living in denial.
I had to go to Luz. From Luz, I went to this hospital at Ibadan, the renowned teaching hospital at Ibadan. Then I came back here to Abuja. At some point, he was sick, so I got to meet Dr. Doris here in Abuja, a neurologist with NISA Premier. So he was sick. He had one of his sick episodes, and she now said, "Oh, that like your son has some little challenges, that he might be autistic." So at that point, I said, "Oh wow, I never thought of that." So she carried out several assessments, and they have all these ways of accessing a child. So she realized that, oh, he's autistic, but his is a mild case of autism, and and immediately commenced therapy, which has helped him so far. I would say that it has not been easy. It is not a walk in the park. It comes with its own challenges. That's just the truth. I realize that my son needs extra attention. Extra attention. He's not a child that you just want to leave unattended to, because you cannot predict his next move or his next action. He's not a child that you just assume that you give strict instruction and he will have the ability to adhere or obey such instructions. So he's a child that requires a lot of attention. But as God will have it, he's gradually, he's growing daily. Therapy has helped him. He's a happy boy. He's not a grumpy, angry child. He's a very friendly. In fact, when he walks into a room now, he greets everybody. How are you? He's a very happy little boy.
The speech issue is huge because parents believe that if only my child could just say something, then there wouldn't be any need to start screaming and having behavioral issues. So you see, Then another challenge we face as a caregiver is when there is no synergy between the parents and the caregivers. When the parents are not ready to work with you, they don't do assignments. Some of them are not interested in what you're doing. Or they know, oh, after all, I pay for therapy, so just give me those therapies and let my child work. Forgetting that we need to ensure that the child does most of those things at home to encourage him to remember all the things you have taught and encourage him to do what other people are doing in the house. Another one is the finances, because this is one-on-one therapy, so it's expensive because the therapists have need money to get themselves trained. You need to maintain the facility. Your recurrent expenditure is quite high because you have to replace virtually almost everything you have. So not having sponsorship for the facility and not having sponsorship for many children we have seen that don't have the money to even feed, to talk of paying for therapy. That has been a very, very big challenge for us.
Parenting a child with autism is a challenge yet rewarding job, where you are not just a mom or a dad, but a teacher, an advocate, therapist. All parents worry about their children, but in some cases, some parents face challenges with communication, social skill, behavior of their children on a daily basis.
We started experiencing a lot of changes as he was moving from his preteen to his teenage age. It was as if his senses were running wild. At times he would tear his clothes. He would lock himself in the toilet for hours. If you don't check on him, he will be there. He would just lock himself in. We also noticed he was very aggressive. He was fighting everybody. He couldn't talk, couldn't express himself, which made the matter worse. Even at home, the siblings would talk to him, he would get angry, ready to beat them, ready to destroy anything. It was so bad, I needed help. That was how they started treatment. Luckily, in one of those treatments, I met a doctor there at the National Hospital, Dr. Shoyombo, who took it up personally. Because it happened that this school that my son is going to, his own children also attend the school. So it was like, what happened? I didn't see this boy. Has he been coming to this hospital? I said, yes. So from there, he took it up. They gave me medications for him. That was what doused all the hyperactiveness, So we began to follow us one-on-one to know the improvements made. And that was where we are today. He's not fighting anybody.
Something. Then some of them might also be in denial. Say, oh, there's nothing wrong with my child. Oh, he can play so well. He answers me. I say, okay, madam, call your child. And we calling 10th time, the child is not even answering to the 10th call. Ignoring everybody, aloof, not even aware of the environment. So we have seen a lot. We've seen those that will come with severe behavioral issues. In fact, once we start clinic, sometimes the clinic is supposed to be 30 minutes clinic, but they can give me 45-minute clinic because a child might throw tantrums for 45 minutes. Everybody will be exhausted, and they say just leave her and her children will be exhausted. But at the end of everything, we'll be very happy. Maybe the child will become compliant and agree to sit. And you see the parents wondering how are they coping. Child crying, jumping, will not even sit in one place. How are these parents coping? So you know that this child definitely do need intervention services, because if this child can behave like this, then what happens in school? And of course, sometimes the parents will say, oh, this is for the schools. Who said, oh, the school said that, oh, there's no problem, we can cope. It would be nice for schools to tell parents the truth. I'm talking to schools now. Please tell the parents the truth of how their child has been behaving in school. The behavior, the speech, the interaction.
This is Against All Odds.
Caring for a child with autism syndrome disorder can be very demanding, requiring a lot of energy and time. There may be days when you feel overwhelmed, stressed, or discouraged.
Very, very tasking. But I still thank God because, like some children, as you have seen, you have to toilet them, you have to clean them up, you have to brush them. My son is not like that. He has his own challenges. Like when he goes to the bathroom to have a shower, you have to stand and be begging him to come out. That's how funny it is. But it's not easy because you'll be there for the next 30, 40 minutes begging him to come out. That is the challenge.
What I would say is I would advise parents, don't keep these children. Yes, it might not be easy because I feel it's about the society. A lot of parents feel ashamed. I must say that. A lot of parents feel ashamed, like they feel stigmatized, or when they see that my child is not behaving or acting in a certain manner, like when my child walks into a room and he's behaving in a way that you would not expect other children to be, the parents feel ashamed. But I would say that for the sake of these children, please, parents, try as much as possible to get help, because early detection is better. It helps them. By the time they start early, some of them after some time they grow out of it.
Yes. Yeah, we have autism myths. Number one, they think that children with autism, they don't love people. They don't want to be loved. That's not true. They want to be, and if you show them affection, they know those are genuinely like them. So when you're passing, they will grab you. They understand those things. Because our children appear indifferent and aloof, so you think that they don't care what happens in the environment. They do. Then they also think that autism is as a result of a spiritual influence, the witches and the wizards. No, 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 no. In fact, some people have told me, doctor, don't you think this child needs exorcism? So we need to pray and fast. I said it's okay to pray and fast, just like you're doing for every other thing, but this child needs therapy and it's autism.
Parenting is not ever easy, and raising a child with special needs is even more challenging. For you to be the best parent you can be, it is important that you take care of yourself.
It might be a bit emotional. Every time they come, yeah, we always have this burst of emotions and this not pity, but you just feel emotional. So that's how I feel right now. But before that, everything has been going well. We do our best. Of course, you know about Kanye already. So what we experience with him is also what all parents who have special needs children go through. There's really no difference. You are saddled with a child who you probably have to look after for the rest of the child's life. So unless there's a miracle, and we also do believe in miracles as well, but unless there's a miracle, that is what you're saddled with. And it's a daily routine of trying to discover new ways to um, either pacify the child or to spur the child to do something, because of course it's a neurological disorder. So they are thinking properly. They know what they are seeing around them, but how to communicate their inner feelings is the problem. And you know how it is if you are a man now and you can't talk, but you want to say something to somebody, but you can't talk. You'll be agitated, but that's how they are.
You were not hidden when you were born. Maybe you didn't have autism, but God has given you this child and it's for a purpose. It might not be easy, but why don't you start from somewhere? Don't let anybody's comments, or you feel that you're being discriminated against, don't let anything like that deter what you would do for your child. Show love and do whatever you can as a parent. Anything you can afford, go to the extent you can afford. The ones you can do at home, there's always something you can do at home. In fact, you can do 20% of some work at home to help your child. Okay, so don't hide away your child. Please say no to discrimination. We need inclusion in the house, at school, in the church, and amongst society as a whole.
Autism syndrome disorder is not gender-based, it's non-racial, and it cuts across all social economic groups all over the world. Therefore, we will keep educating the society and advocating for equal opportunity to participate in every aspect of life to the best of their abilities and desires.
Jungle.